Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Thanks a lot for joining us. We are here for some Scottish Football Daily on a Friday night. And the way the week was shaping up, we've tried a few lives and whatnot, but a big fan of trying to get some sort of Friday night spot up and going with all the content I get involved in. And I thought, you know what? Let's try a wee Friday night shift over on Scottish Football Daily. And we'll try and see if we get a bit of a crowd together and see if we can have some fun. And we're kind of kicking the doors open. I've got the usual stuff to get us up to speed with, whatever's happened today. But we'll be live for probably the thick end of about an hour or so, depending on interaction from you guys. And happy to kick the door open on this one. I've put the top line in the description. Ideally, we get a bit of a feeling, a bit of a sentiment from you guys on expectations and what was the other word I used? I forget, but expectations and something else around the season coming ahead. If you're watching us live and loud, we have a poll in the chat for where your expectation levels are. Are you at max? Are you above average? Too early to say? Or are you a Celtic fan? Get voting in the chat. Let it be known. Smash the like button while you're doing that as well. Hit subscribe if you haven't done so already. It goes a long way to supporting the channel. And we've got a few bits and bobs to get into. I'm still kind of scratching around the sides because in this time on a Friday, we normally do get some late news coming in as admins of social media accounts for all the clubs in Scotland look to wind up for the week before they head off to the weekend. Just as I have a quick kind of double check, I'm not sure I've missed out on anything from when I checked out earlier. I don't think there's been anything happen really this afternoon outside of maybe the Kelechi Iheanacho thing, which I really would rather not get into, but it's up to you guys, I suppose, depending on what gets brought up in the chat. Good to see you all. Good to see you all. There's a bit of chat going on. I'll catch up with all that in a moment. I think the first thing I wanted to start with was something that I deliberately left off the schedule yesterday, because I thought if we're going to go live on Friday, then if nothing was to happen, then we could spend longer maybe talking about this. Or maybe not. Let's just see how it goes. But yesterday, we had the announcement that Craig Gordon announced his retirement. Now, the Scottish national team Twitter account put it as a career unlike any other. And I think it's a great way of summing it up. Craig Gordon, for many of you, will be fully aware of his career, starting off at Hearts, moving to Sunderland, retiring, resurrecting Food and Barton and Celtic, and then going back to Hearts, narrowly missing out on a bumper contract to sit on the Chelsea bench at one stage as well. If you recall, Scotland caps, tournaments, European football, domestic titles and honours, records as well. The most expensive, goalkeeper and youth player from blah 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 from Scotland to England and all that good stuff. So it's not a player I've always totally oh, I think he's a great keeper and stuff like that, but firmly a modern day legend in the SPFL and the Scottish football period. With the longevity of his career, of course, with the World Cup registration that he had, I suppose, this summer, making him the oldest player to get to the World Cup or whatever the accolade specifically is. But beyond that, he lost a few years through injury, but he got more than that back, you would say, at the back end of his career. So fair play to Craig Gordon, good career to you, my man. And obviously it didn't really end that well at the back end of the season for Hearts, and Craig Gordon seemed to maybe, not take it too well in that way. And I know some Celtic fans may be rubbed up the wrong way, but hey ho, football's football, and if you lost and you weren't disappointed, I think that'd be more of an issue, really. So, Craig Gordon, congratulations on your career, my man, and good luck in retirement. We spoke the other day, though, about how the incoming signing of Bo Royce, the 6'6" goalkeeper, into Hearts was probably a sign that Hearts, the hierarchy, had enough of Craig Gordon and Zander Clark, and they were going to try and upgrade. But it doesn't just seem like it's an upgrade on the bench, because Alexander Schwallow is now departing Hearts, and he is in Germany. He is on the Rhine. He is in Mainz, or he will be in Mainz on August 1st. He will be available for Hearts selection for the next 2 weeks, I guess, until the new guy comes in and gets fit. And it's a nice kind of handover, I suppose. He wants to be back closer to his family. And this Bo Royce must be seen internally as a direct competitor to Schwallow, and he's kind of like, I'm all right. I'd rather go back to Germany and chill if I'm going to be sitting on a bench. So fair play to him. And it maybe opens the door up a little bit more for a lot of the Hearts chat we've had about how they've strengthened up their squad throughout the window. And I remember last time we were chatting about them, we did the full league breakdown for the squad previews. Was that on Monday? I think it might have been. And the main question mark we have around Hearts is just how many of these guys, and I think this is the latest update. I don't think there's been anything in the last 3 days to do, other than now update the goalkeepers, of course. But I think this, like Gordon, of course, it didn't start all the time last season. We've had some other exits from Hearts, of course, in the forms of Devlin, Shankland, obviously the manager McInnes, some backroom staff, and there's some other players I'm sure I'm forgetting as well, like Beningamis and Alan Forrests and whatever. And I feel with Swallow and Gordon going out, oh, this is all updated at the bottom. Where's my new player? Yeah, they've all updated this. Okay, cool. Goalkeeper. So we're bringing in Royce, and Xander Clark is still on the book. So I guess at this point we bring him into the depth chart, don't we? Since Craig Gordon's now retired and Swallow is left. So Xander Clark is back in as number 2 goalkeeper at Hearts, how things turn. And probably this Bo Royce is going to be in as number 1. This is the last time we updated Hearts. So I think this is as accurate as it gets right now. Very deep, very strong squad. But I do think there's a lot of experience now that has walked out the door. And I'm not sure like Swallow and Gordon should be this real big tipping point that I now feel that it is. You think he's leaving on a permanent, Callum? I always get mixed up with your name, sorry, mate. But Callum, I'm going to go with Callum. I think he's leaving on a permanent. So maybe another backup keeper to come in. We'll leave Xander Clark on here for now because that's just the way it is. But Callum seems to have a bit of insight. Should I ask Anthony Joseph? Yeah, that's probably a good shout. I've had him on Celtics here before, so he probably will. Hearts 1-0. Bassey, McPake, nice assist, crossing header. Ian's getting keeping right across it. So yeah, I just feel that the main question with Hearts, right, and this is a real transition year. Is will these, can they replace Shankland in the aggregate? How big of a gap does Devlin fill that they can add in? And I just feel now that list of things is quite large and it's unavoidable. And it will, I think, Hearts are now, I think they're really strong looking still. And I still have no questions around them in terms of top 3 or whatever. Maybe the old guard leaving is a good thing. It kind of maybe jet sets Hearts into being a bit more European, as it were, maybe a little bit quicker. But I don't know. When I seen that, it's particularly the Swallow one, because he played all the time last season, was certainly a big figure in Hearts' success last year. I don't know. I just feel like there's too much experience walking out the door. Trying to get in Mendy to replace Devlin. Which Mendy? There's quite a few of them. A lot of them are pretty good as well. Xander Clark was like decent for St Johnstone. Who was it he played for before Hearts? And he wasn't even bad. I think he was all right for Hearts for a minute or two, wasn't he? Hearts fans will know better than me. Liam McFarlane, we were on loan to Thistle today. Yeah, I seen that. Is he a goalkeeper, Liam McFarlane? I'd maybe brought that in if I realised he was a goalkeeper for the relevance. But yeah, so that's an interesting little kind of side development for Hearts. And again, Hearts fans, let me know, is it a positive or negative, this whole kind of changing of the guard, this whole, it's very much a new chapter very quickly, isn't it? Let me know your thoughts and feelings. Is this a good thing? Is it too much too soon? I guess that's what I kind of would feel from a Hearts perspective, looking at the amount. You always expect high turnover, right? But if we go a few steps forward into the future, if Braga and or Kazarides, again, it's a very unrecognisable team to last year. And although high turnover, bringing guys in, getting them to hit the ground running, all that stuff. And there is guys like Miller played in the league last year, Danda, a few of these guys might be all right and stuff, and might be able to bridge a bit of that gap that might form with these guys leaving, the experienced ones. But yeah, I don't know. It just it raises a wee question for me on Hearts' staying power, perhaps, and all the competitions are going to be in, because yeah, I think experience, know-how, a little bit of that, playing for the badge, and a little bit of that, they could really get the sense of the fans about them. There's a lot of that gone. A lot of these guys are brand new. Those relationships, I'm sure, will grow and form over time, as it always does with football players and clubs and whatnot. But it's a kind of a bit of a vacuum of that leaving. And I suppose that just gives opportunity to any of these guys to step up and be the new heroes, the new captains, the new main man. And yeah, Ian's a St Johnstone fan. He rated Xander Clark. I remember him being there and thought he did really well. So yeah, I remember that well. I thought he was decent there for sure. I can see why Hearts got him. It didn't shock me at the time, as it were. So Still a strong looking squad, but yeah, it's a bit too new. That's kind of what I think. It's just a wee bit of If it's law of averages with Hearts in terms of the new signings that they're bringing in. How many of them will be like Braga level, and how many of them might be like, I don't know, Magnuson level, or whoever else maybe came in last year and wasn't as prominent or prolific as probably Braga. There'll be a mix of that again. The new manager seems to know his job certainly pretty well, and everything else. So yeah, interesting to see. And there's a lot of chat going in here about Ryan apparently being kidnapped by Dermot Desmond. So we'll see if we can see Ryan again. See if he turns up safe and alive. We all hope he is, of course. So yeah, we had that happen with Hearts, which I thought was a little bit unusual or unexpected. It's probably the best way of putting it. The next little piece of news to update you with is it looks like Elliot Watt's transfer is all done. He'll be in Turkey on Saturday, the 18th of July, which is tomorrow. So that looks like it's all done and dusted, signed off, sealed and delivered. And on top of that, Motherwell have also let Aston Oxborough leave for a permanent deal, undisclosed fee to Dunfermline. Now, this is a really big move, I think, for Dunfermline. Oxborough is a really good goalkeeper at SPFL level and was very important to Dunfermline last year when he was on loan at them. Their title promotion push, they got knocked out in the playoffs. I think he was unavailable for the match because I think maybe Motherwell recalled him or he was suspended. I forget the details of it. But he could play. He could play for a lot of teams in the SPFL. So he's probably getting paid quite well to go to Dunfermline. It's probably like a marquee player on their books and whatever. It's a Motherwell exit is really how we're reporting it here on the channel. But an interesting acquisition from Dunfermline. And by the way, there was a guy that Livingston signed. I was watching his highlight reel earlier. I forgot his name. He's a Dutch guy. But Jesus, man, Livingston have signed a player that looks pretty handy. So the Championship, there might be, it might be quite exciting to follow this year. Not that it's not normally. I've just never really that closely paying attention to it. So a bit of Motherwell action there. Motherwell also had one of their friendlies today against Genk, and I found this quite interesting because it's a team sheet, and we get to see a little bit of the old and the new. Because we still have Elijah Justin here, who is widely expected to go to Swansea, I think now. No, not Celtic, Swansea. Michael Nicholson is quoted as saying that we struggled to negotiate against Championship clubs, so firmly believe that'll be the case. But Pilson is in as goalkeeper. Sparrow's still in the building. The new boy Moorman, Luca Ross, Priestman Fadinger, we know from last season. Ibrahim Said, Regan Charles Cook, the same, but new signing Willie Voigt coming into, I guess, in that front line. Is he replacing Masmanise? Regan Charles Cook didn't always start. That might have been a wee bit of Elliot Watt in this, but I suppose Priestman didn't always start either. Who am I forgetting? Maybe I'm not forgetting anyone. Yeah, no Katrumbis as well, no Longello. So Motherwell, who were the team that really did, if I saved this 7 minutes ago, we'll just do it one more time just to be safe. But if we go and update Motherwell live while we're on it now, boom, 4 days ago, we've updated this. So Oxborough's out the building. So that means Connolly, who we were speaking about this the other day about how they would have to loan this guy out to get minutes. It looks like selling Oxborough's the move, cash him in and develop Connolly in the background. So fair play to Motherwell. Again, a lot of these players were missing from that team we just seen here. But who are we going to add in? Or we're going to take away Elliot Watt once and for all, weren't we? Yeah, Elliot Watt's gone. Masmanisi's kind of out the picture right now. Elijah Just we expect to be not too far behind. Longello not there. Katrumbis not there as well. So yeah, that's my main worry with this Motherwell squad is it's just super thin. Super thin. And yeah, Luca Ross, is he not a forward? Is this Luca Ross? Why have I got him up front? It looks like he's playing left back in this. Maybe he is up front. Ollie White must be a kid. I'm not sure where he'll be playing. Chat's running away, guys. Great to see it. Smash the like button. I watched Connolly's real quality. Could definitely see him start. Not to be ruled out. Barry C. Motherwell have a good... Oh, yeah. We did that the other day. Girdwood Reich. And this is the faux pas I always have on the channel is we do it and then I maybe forget to save it the last time we touched it. So Great. I felt it with Hearts, but yeah, Girdwood, Reich. And we had a wee look at him the other day. His performances in the A-League. It was the A-League, wasn't it, this guy came out of? It was really good. And I think with Moorman, they've made nice additions in defence. I do quite like that, but look at the midfield. There's just nobody in it. An injury, or imagine they sold Fadinger or something like that. Like they're really needing to reinforce that midfield quite quickly. Girdwood, right? Yeah, there he's there. So yeah, defensive duels, aerial duels, really good. Interceptions, really nice, and progressive carries and stuff are high enough. So nice, nice looking player. I see we spoke about him the other day. I think he featured on the thumbnail as well, if memory serves me right. So thanks for the catch there. But yeah, another centre back to come into the mix alongside Moorman. O'Donnell's maybe going to be sort of as more of a right back, perhaps. Was one of the reasons we got promoted. Calum Ross is a defender. Yeah, fair enough. Cheers. I don't know how we ended up in striker here. My bad. So let's just update that now. Save. Defensive midfielder. Who's the centre back? This is centre backs. There was a big impressive centre back who came to the league the other day. Was it not this guy? Maybe he's going to. I can see him playing defensive mid. Like he's a big guy, isn't he? And that would make a wee bit more sense if that was the case. I could see it with the prowess of the guy. Ollie White is a midfielder. Thank you very much, Calum. Guess we'll add him in. Custom players. Ollie White. Let's add you on, buddy. Welcome to the squad. Just make sure we save it every time now. How are we doing? I'm doing very good, Kay Burnett. Let me know how you're getting on. How are you feeling for the season? We've got a vote in the poll. How excited are you for the 26-27 season? Maximum, above average, too early to say, or Celtic fan. There are your four options for this one. I'm a huge fan of Said. I agree with that, Barry. I actually think Ibrahim Said, in terms of Masmanisi and Justin, all that, he's very much under the radar. I think he's very tenacious and quite smart as well. Like you can see players that kind of get the game and play the game quite well. I'm a big fan of Ibrahim Said. I agree with your comment, Barry, wholeheartedly. How can Rocky be behind Murray? I know you said earlier, Quinny, he's behind development, but he can't play. Yeah, I agree, Gavi boy. So we've had so is Naroki confirmed? Are we going to chat about that as an exit from Celtic? I suppose we should. So Naroki has left Celtic, who Martin O'Neill's quoted as saying is fifth choice centre back. He's behind Dane Murray and Carter Vickers for right-sided centre back. And yeah, Celtic have confirmed they have sold him to Lens, the team that finished second in France, the team that for the last 3 or 4 years have been pushing way above their weight, selling big players into big clubs like Kusanov to Man City and this type of thing, you know. And they want to buy the guy you don't want for a couple of quid. The reports I've seen from L'Equipe in France have this transfer in at €2.5 million. I'm not trying to rewrite history on this guy. I've said this a few times, but just to put it on the record here, is like Van Dijk the second or anything, far from it. But there's no way you'll convince me that Celtic will outdo Lons in the transfer market by replacing him with a better player for the same value, or maybe Celtic spend more money. I highly doubt that, you know. But it's just it's a crazy, crazy turn of events. Celtic is going from bad to worse. Kelechi Iheanacho has been confirmed to go into second tier Bursaspor, the second tier of Turkish football. He's on a 3-year contract. I'm sure the term of the contract made a difference, but that's Iheanacho off the table now, and Naroki gone. So this is the Celtic squad as we sit and we see it right now. Lots of these guys expected to leave. Lots and lots of them. Tons of them. And it feels much more like Duran is going to be a striker. I actually seen James Forrest like an hour ago. I was round to my mum's for a barbecue today through the afternoon, and I was leaving. And just as I was walking down the driveway to get to the car, he's just walking down the street with his AirPods in, having a wee chat with somebody. It's like, that's James Forrest. So he's out here on the right wing himself. Maybe Yang is the right winger. or something. Who knows? Shin's out the building too. Might as well ditch him. And yeah, like for Celtic, it's going to be a big problem real quickly because Dyson, we all know, is going to be leaving. Hitate is get a face like a scalped arse most of the time these days. Engels is itching to move. Balikwisha's has had some links. I think he's going to be pushed out the door as well. Looking at the rest of this defence, I don't really think anyone's outward, and I don't think there's any more talent in attack to sell. There's some rumours around McGregor and Saudi. They're not to be ruled out at this point, and I think if Negren got an offer, he would jump at it. And Bernardo is also kind of in this weird no man's land. Like, how is Bernardo still at the club and Naroki isn't? You know, it's kind of a weird, kind of dynamic. So yeah, Celtic in a really bad place right now. No Iheanacho. Araujo and Sriracha are sitting here because just really who knows, but let's just toss them away now because there literally is no point in looking at them. So yeah, the Celtic midfield right now is McKeown, Oxlade, Chamberlain and McGregor, and Paulo Bernardo, I suppose, if you want to think about him for all intents and purposes. I'm sure a lot of these guys will be made to stay at Celtic until qualification is done for the most part, because that's just the way Celtic go. But this is like it was such an underdeveloped squad last year. That's kind of the words I've been using with Dane Murray. This is Dane Murray's entire career, essentially. He's not played much. He's played very little football. He's 22, 23 years of age, and it's just crazy to think that we're going to try and use him this year. Dane Murray, anyone associated with Dane Murray, in the best interest of Dane Murray, he should be going on loan to Falkirk or to St Johnstone or to St Mirren or whoever. He should be going on loan to someone that's going to play him as often as someone could guarantee to play him and develop him, and then maybe you could use him next year at Celtic. But this guy, Carter Vickers, is always injured. This is just madness. It really is. And maybe like if something bad was to happen, you can play Trusty or whatever. But again, I think Trusty's maybe half got a foot out the door and could leave as well. So, and just signing Samu Costa. Wow, what a move, man. What a move. Obviously, Ange's in Saudi, so big pay packet. But Samu Costa, Kenny probably away to Bolton. Yeah, probably. But maybe not now. We've not got Iheanacho in, because you feel like the club are banking on Iheanacho. I don't know, by the way. Fair enough, Ian. Maybe St Johnstone don't want Dane Murray, but you get my point. Like, ideally in the SPFL, but see if it's not the SPFL, the place to loan these players, with all due respect, Dane Murray is who I'm talking about specifically here, and anyone in that kind of category. You don't loan them into the Scottish Championship. You have to loan them to the bottom team in Belgium or something like that, because then it's an actual training experience. It's an actual development project. There's another one. Actually, I've not got it lined up, so let me go and grab it. But Rangers are actually about to have a wee departure of their own. And can I find it quickly? No, I can't. But it looks like... Oh, there we go. This is the first one I could find. So we're speaking about this the other day, how Rangers were wanting Danilo to go on loan somewhere where he would get guaranteed playing time. And we spoke about that. There was Rangers fans kind of saying, like, why? Who gives a crap and whatever. But you can't sell a guy that doesn't play football. He's on big wages. He was a big player when he came to Rangers in terms of, like, from the Dutch league, he'd won the title and he played for Ajax and Feyenoord and really been around that league. So that's definitely smart business. They've managed to close a deal with Botafogo with a loan with a buy option, and the buy option is predicated on him playing. So it's not quite a guarantee on playing like as was initially reported, but maybe those initial reports where Rangers were wanting buy obligations for minutes and stuff. So let me just save this Celtic thing. We can clean Danilo out from Rangers now. Clears maybe some wages off their books in the interim, but maybe longer term, that's a bit more of a relief to what's going on with them. I say Barron isn't too far away from moving. You think Raskin's probably going to be the same. Lyle Cameron feels like a ghost right now. Not heard anything about him. There's some noise about Suter maybe leaving. I've seen Gassman having some links to Gassama, sorry, or whatever. Yeah, Antman, sorry. That's just what their patter was, wasn't it? Sorry. Got his name mixed up there. So, and that's Chukwuemeka. We were chatting about him the other day, about how he's not really that defensive. I think he got two goals yesterday or something, didn't he? He doubles as a ball boy. Who's that? Dane Murray, is it? I actually think a full season in a top championship team, it wouldn't do him bad, but like I don't think you can do that and go to Celtic, like as the project would be designed to achieve. So I think, look, again, it's kind of overlooked that Welsh got a really good loan into Belgium at Mechelen, did really well. David Bates, also a former Rangers Aberdeen player, did pretty well at Mechelen. And these Belgian teams, like if you're a good player, they'll play you. You can develop, you can play. So I think you would get him on the continent if you're serious about trying to make him a Celtic player. Let's just hit save on this for Rangers. We've got Danilo gone. Maybe one or two other bits and pieces going around. Kenny would be better than Bowie at Hibs, in my opinion. Won't be popular, but I think Kenny is better than people make out. So, like, I think you're right, Illustrious, that Kenny is better than people make out. Yeah, that's what I seen Ian Gassama linked to replace Tizolis at Brugge, which, by the way, Rangers would get some money for that. Although I don't think Tizolis is actually moving to Arsenal for very much, actually. I think it's quite a nominal fee because of contracts and whatever. So Kenny, like, I do agree he's better than what people make out. I think he's had a really hard time, and there was a minute or two when O'Neill first came in that you thought, oh, wow, he could actually maybe kick on here, score 10 goals a season, be a good contributor to the squad. But it's just, it's the same principle as Murray, really. And we could talk about the same situation for many clubs, really. That to play first team football, the higher up the division you get, the more cutthroat it is, the more experience the player needs. And yeah, support is a big part of it as well, especially if you're a striker. He stinks of Motherwell. I don't think you'd get a game from Motherwell, to be honest with you. Like, I really don't. Like, I'm not sure. Like, Falkirk, you've maybe got a chance with. I think just because, yeah, I think you could maybe get a chance for them. The Dundee club's hard to say. I don't think so. I'm not sure as many squads he would get into, starting 11s wise, to be honest with you. But Motherwell, we're just looking at them. This Girdwood Reich, who knows where he's going to play, but this Moorman, McGinn, O'Donnell, again, I find it hard to imagine Murray gets minutes at Motherwell. And I know Welsh got minutes, but Welsh had that loan experience at Mechelen, had played way more for Celtic, is older as well and such. So I don't think they're a like-for-like comparison. I didn't see Ian Atcho's message. Sorry, could you tag me in it, Michael, or DM me it or something? Brenda said Kenny's a really good. Yeah, I think he's all right. Like, I do think he's all right. I do think he could get better, but I don't think he's going to. It's like, coming off the bench all the time, you're not going to develop to your full potential. You might unlock a wee bit more of your potential. You might get some form, but you can't come off the bench all the time. You can't have irregular minutes and develop. It's just unheard of. We're not linked with any new players as a Celtic. Yeah, we're totally. Honestly, guys, Celtic are Donald Ducked. Donald Ducked. I don't want this to become a Celtic stream. But Alex Cortals, Schwallow to depart. Hearts can confirm that Schwallow. Oh yeah, you're just sharing the news with me, Alexander. Thanks very much. We touched on that earlier, alongside the retirement of Craig Gordon. So yeah, interesting move. Really caught me out at left field. Did you see that one coming, Alexander? Did you think Schwallow would be on his way out? Thanks very much, Michael. So this is another DM that's went. So we spoke about this. I don't think it was on this channel actually, but Sriracha DM'd a fan back saying, like, I'd love to have stayed, but nobody spoke to me for 3 weeks. And now this is my first time reading this. Thank you so much for the kind message. It was a privilege to play for your club, the Celtic FC, and for you, the fans. I did my absolute best, but I can't go back to where I'm not wanted. I'll forever be grateful to Celtic and you, the fans. Now, I get everyone else in the league is probably buzzing to that kind of stuff, right? I would be too if I was you, but it just hurts me, man. It just hurts me how bad things are run. But the main thing is, on this channel, how exciting is the new season going to be? Because if the season started tomorrow, and by the way, the season starts in 2 weeks' time, Celtic look third to me. Let's just look at that squad again one more time. This was the Celtic squad, and fair enough, we're not sold all these guys. Some of them that maybe play a match or two before they get punted. But if this is the body of the squad for the season, man, like, it's going to be a long year. I'll maybe come back to that in a second. Sorry, 2 seconds. Remarkable that both Sriracha and Ian Atcho have no bother speaking up against. Yeah, well, They don't need to care about it anymore. They will never play for Celtic again. Sadly, Ian Atchell's got a 3-year contract now in Bursaspor. We're never going to pay a transfer fee for him. We're not going to take him back at 32. Although, yeah, maybe never rule that out, I suppose. And Sirache, like, who knows, whatever happens with that, really. Xander Clark is back up for you still. A question here. What do you think about Nadiri now that Rowe's gone? So, again, I'm only, with this channel, really getting up to speed and across everything as well as I can. But I remember Ryan Nadiri being linked to Rangers, and all the hype around him was he was tearing up the 3rd division in Germany, and that he was a front 2 guy, and he was a bit of a bull in a china shop, and he would be really good at crashing the box and scoring some goals and all that kind of stuff. And for Hansa Rostock, 5-4 in 18 is pretty good going for Rangers last year. Not quite enough. I think he got injured and stuff, didn't he? I don't think Derek McInnes is going to have a problem with having these guys all at his disposal. I think he'll quite regularly play 2 up front. But even if he doesn't, again, I think unless you see him going into the market and replacing these guys, I think you can assume he's going to use them. Because this is the best squad Derek McInnes has ever had his hands on, isn't it? In terms of like level of player, wages, and resources available and stuff. So, Shankland was the best player he'd had before. Now he's got Shankland plus 3 guys that should be on par with him to some extent. Dundee United took a 93rd minute penalty to beat Stirling Albion. They got beat the second game. They opened the season as well. Oh, yeah. We were speaking about that the other day, about what managers could be under the cosh quickly or first. And Jim Goodwin is definitely a top candidate for, like, if they're ropey. I actually seen the Dundee United fans memeing him the other day. It must have been around these results. But Jim Goodwin's somebody who could get sacked really quick. Really quick. I think Aberdeen will be a surprise this season, says Michael. I would... the thing with Aberdeen is I'm at the point where I need to see them win games before I believe that they're going to do it, because they've threatened to do it a few times. Now, this looks pretty comprehensive, This, 2 to a position, 3 at the back, 5 at the back, 4 at the back. There's a lot. Maybe they could do with another body or 2 in the front line, but really considering the squad quality, it's maybe just a nice to have rather than a must have, because Aberdeen are a great shout for top 6. I think there's going to be a big drop off from Motherwell. We've spoken about that quite a lot already, not only on the stream today, but in the channel in general. And I think Aberdeen could be one of the key beneficiaries of that opening in the top 6. Did McInnes not have this squad last season? What squad? Rangers? No. I know you're being funny, but I don't get it. Goodwin's all, yeah, exactly. Like, I think he's key contender for the sack race right now. Although I wouldn't rule out Celtic craziness at any stage of this one. Smith was solid, and I was a big fan of Yogan. Yeah, Yogan profiles really well in the division. And Smith, I only know him because of that video that analysing the SPFL did on him. And I would agree that this looks like a very shrewd bit of business. Calum is happy with the squad. What do you think, Calum? Is it... Because last year you signed Jesper Karlsson, Adil Ayushishi, and Lazatic. Do you feel better this summer or last summer? Now, obviously, you know how last summer ended up with some of those guys, right? But how do you feel compared to last year? Same, better, or worse? Still to get in another winger, apparently, and we want another fullback. Because Mitchell Frame is kind of in and out of the building, isn't he? Nesta Guinness Walker can play left back, but is kind of the left centre back, isn't he? So that would make sense if Mitchell Frame's still kind of flirting with a move. Martin O'Neill leaves, the main man, Wilfred Nancy returns. Again, Celtic are so cheap, I wouldn't rule that out, because they're probably still paying him a wage, and they'd probably say, we're paying you, so you're coming to town. Do you think McGlynn can get another season out of Falkirk like last? I think he can. Because Falkirk are a team that, from what I've seen anyway, are a machine. It's about the entity, and they've done really well at letting individuals shine in that. I do think some of the signings they've made, like Crowhouse, looks like a shrewd move. I like the look of the boy Laidlaw as well. Sibbald, who they kind of half exchanged with Dylan Tate with Dundee United. Dylan Tate was really good, but Sibbald is like a Falkirk guy, so it's maybe not an upgrade as such, but it helps a bit. I'm a big fan of Connor Allen. I think he's one of the best kind of defenders. Can play midfield as well, but defenders certainly in the league. They brought this I forget if he's Latvian or Lithuanian or something, but they signed an international dead early in the window. And actually, we have some Falkirk news today because they've also signed Ryan Strain. You'd think I meant this. You'd think I'm organised, wouldn't you? Ryan Strain, who is a right back, isn't he? Former St Mirren player, and he's probably played somewhere else at some point. But yeah, they've now got Ryan Strain in, who is a good bit of SPFL experience. And I think for these clubs, that is a value add when you get guys like this. And Tanser is very similar with Falkirk, so Tanser and Strain coming in, that adds a bit of metal, a bit of SPFL, for lack of a better term, nous. And I say, unlike the Sibbald move, Brad Spencer is a little bit of a hero on my other channel, but let's just make him on this channel as well, right? Because if we look at Brad Spencer, some of you guys are going to have your eyes popping out your head in a second, right? Because Brad Spencer, this probably isn't the best page for it. Let's do the Radars one. Right? If we do, this isn't. No, how did we do it last time? I think did we get the AI chat to do it? I think we did. I'll come back. I'll type away and I'll get this to run the report again. Compare. There we go. We'll see if that fires away for us. So yeah, I knew there was another little bit of business line about the Falkirk move for Strain. I think that's all the actual business I had. So if there has been any other developments today, I've missed them. So feel free to update me. Adams is injured. Same with McMillan, aren't they? Adams and McMillan. I think Adams did pick up an injury. Ryan Strain's hamstrings won't last until August. Adams doesn't deserve to be dropped. So maybe you maybe not. So I'm a football, or I was a football coach. I coached for a fair length of time. Got my UEFA badge and stuff. And the last club I coached at was Glasgow Uni. And Keelan Adams, he was never in my squad certainly, but he was. Well, Keelan Adams was there when I was there, kind of thing. Don't know if I can quite say I know him or anything. I didn't but yeah, I like Keelan Adams. It's kind of the punchline to that. So I'd like to see him stay in the team too. But if Strain doesn't have great hammies, maybe there's a wee bit of job share at right back. I can't really speak to the boy McMillan too much. I can't say I know him too much. Are you watching the friendly tomorrow? Do you know, I was actually really close to thinking about going to the stadium tomorrow to protest and stuff. Tate was confirmed free transfer with a sell-on fee. Is that to St Johnson? Is that Macaulay Tate you're talking about? Strain can play both sides, I think. Oh, nice, Barry. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me because I wasn't definitive. Is he a right back? I think he is a right, but he's probably one of these guys who could do both sides. I'll take it with a pinch of salt, but transfer marked have Tate valued at half a G or half a mil, so good deal for us. I think he's decent. McMillan is a tight back who can play midfield, or is it right back meant to be? Yeah, I've kind of got him in that little spot, so maybe somebody told me that before. In between right back and midfield. Club announced it this afternoon. Nice, all confirmed. Love that. So yeah, I think Falkirk could repeat their season. Again, they got to a Scottish Cup semi-final, and if it wasn't for how Hearts went and how Motherwell went, Falkirk would have been the story of the season. John McGlynn might have won Manager of the Year, taking the club up all those leagues and then Cup semi-finals and top sixes and whatever. Might as well put McMillan at right midfield. Okay. I'll do that. And we'll update it. So I'm not going to watch. Do you know what? I want to watch it. I don't know if I watched the Celtic Middlesbrough game. I didn't watch the Shelbourne game or the Sporting Lisbon games. I don't know if I'll bother with this one either, to be honest. But I was kind of half tempted to maybe go to the stadium or something. Do you think some SPFL clubs should be going after Kyle Ure again? Very underdeveloped. He did championship last year. Again, if you're asking me seriously, we've spoken about this quite a lot on the channel with the Scottish youth player exodus. If you're Hearts, Celtic or Rangers, Dundee United, Hibs, any of these serious academies, all these players for most of these teams I just listed off, right, they should be getting into the first team. We've seen a little bit of that with Dundee United already in pre-season. They've actually started playing some of their kids. Dundee United have got a good kind of history of that, in my opinion. But for like, so I'll just include Hearts in this because of where they're at financially and what they're doing to their first team at the moment. They really should be looking at loans. Like, I even think the second division in Austria, the second division in Portugal, the second division in Belgium is better development ground than the Scottish Championship for some of these players, if not all of them. Because if you're trying to develop, so what are you trying to develop? You're trying to develop guys to play at the highest level possible. And a big part of, I think, the underutilization of Scotland is our facilities and our structures and all that aren't they're not optimized. You know, it's just to keep it to matter of fact. And all these other nations, like, it is much more professional, for lack of a better expression. So someone like you or anyone you want to think about from your own squads, from whoever you support, if they're not going to get into the first team, some of them loaning them into Scotland, depending on who we're talking about, is a great move. Championship, League One, the cooperation agreements, I think, are a great development. But Kyle, you're like, if no one in Scotland is interested in them in the SPFL, and I don't really think any of them should be. We've covered the squads on this channel in depth, and there's not one of them that I could think he would get a game for. Go to the continent, you know, I think that's the best way to go. I was thinking of going to the Rio game, but no. Rio is playing Hearts. Is it? Who's played? Is it Rio Hearts? Is that the friendly? Ryan Fulton. Oh yeah, I forgot all about Ryan Fulton. Yeah, like, if they're like 17 to 19, I don't mind it. But again, if it's not like their first season in professional football, I think that's kind of where the efficacy, how effective that is, wears off, personally. We got the lads from the third division in Spain. Folk will look down, but they play against Real Madrid, Castillo, and the young players got to shop around these days, totally. That Unas Alvarez looks like he could do all right. Yeah, it's Hearts and Rio. Yeah. That could be, if you're a Hearts fan, that's a friendly I would tune into, you know. If you're a Hearts fan, that's exciting. Rio did well last year. They might not be at full strength and whatever, but it's a nice little joust, you know, before the Sturm Graz game. Fulton played one game in the SPFL versus Motherwell 2 years ago. Jesus. Yeah, like, these players are just getting, they're going raw, they're going stale, they're going bad. You know, players need to develop, especially in those formative years. Like, we all kind of associate like teenage years and puberty as like the main stage where people grow, or particularly professional athletes. You see, like, how many people peak in their late to mid 20s? Almost all of them. A big part of that is down to you know, rhythm and flow and finding form and being in a good space and the mastery of your abilities and knowing what you're good at and what you're not good at. But a lot of that does come down to quite simply reps as well, actual experience. Once you've done something like 10,000 times, or whatever expression you want to think of, you just naturally become a lot better at it. And guys like Ryan Fulton here playing one game in 2 years, or like Dane Murray played 7 games in the league last year, and in his entire Celtic career he's made 9 appearances in Europe, which is just insane. He's played more times in Europe, and he's a backup kid, you know, like rotation piece or emergency lever centre back, because he's been when Ange played him against Betis or whatever it was originally. Great shout, great callback on the Owen Beck, by the way. Great callback, love that, illustrious. You know, I watch Croatia, Quinny. I have no idea why Celtic and Rangers don't shop there. Ian, you've been saying that to me for ages. I've been wanting to tap, so my kind of half, like, if I won the lottery and could retire, I would move to Croatia. Like, I'd love to go. It just seems like a wee football paradise of a country. You know what I mean? It's right on the Mediterranean. They love their football, produce players for fun. National team does great and all that. But you're spot on, mate. There is a lot of talent that goes through there. That, like, how many of them, like Nico Segur was the guy that got linked recently from Hajduk Split. There's always a guy or two that could be useful, I think, to the top teams in the league. But to everyone else, there's I wouldn't even want to exclude the Glasgow clubs from the conversation, because the league is good for talent, especially if you can be proactive and get the young ones in. But even outside of that, you mentioned Unas Alvarez from the Spanish third division. We've seen Basir and what's the guy's name? It's like Sean Ramos or something like that. The guy at St Mirren. Forgot his first name now. But these guys are all pretty handy players, you know, in The Croatian first tier has got guys that are way better than that. That, you know what, if you could maybe win a cup in Scotland, or you could do well in Scotland to get a move to England, or, you know, there's a lot of career prospects in Scotland for the right player. They would come with me. The wife and Wayne's would come with me. Of course they would. Of course they would. They have 2 more youngsters, Brown and Bennett. Is this Falkirk you're talking about? Who's Brown and Bennett play for? There seems to be a stubbornness up in Scotland. We loaned Maeda to Hibs. Oh, Maeda, was he at Hibs the other year, and they hardly played him, came back to us, and we just sold him for 20 mil. I know that the Triantis did very well at Hibs from Sunderland, didn't he? I didn't know that they had Maeda. He did really well for you when he got promoted and a decent... Who did you sell him to? Rob? Falkirk, yeah. So they've got 2 other guys to add in. Thanks for the chat. Thanks for the intel. Brown and Bennett. They might just be appearing in pre-season. I'll add them on. And if we don't see them in the actual season, I can bin them. And if they're guys, and we've got them ready. Thanks for the shout, mate. Appreciate the intel and the insight as we build up the knowledge bank. I'm looking forward to when I've been doing this long enough with the league where, like, there's been 3 or 4 matches and I can look at this and I really know all the players pretty well, like who they are and what they're about. Yeah, I didn't know that. Ren. Okay. Danda was even rumoured with India this summer. Oh, the Indian League is in a bit of collapse. Does he maybe have heritage there, Jan Danda? I think he's got... Yeah, is he maybe... Yeah. I just sent you a DM, Quinny. I'll have a wee peek. Got some more intel coming my way. A wee message from Sriracha. I am writing this to say goodbye. We had an intense, beautiful year together where we achieved so many of our goals. My agent and I did absolutely everything within our power to make a return to Glasgow happen. I'm truly gutted that I won't be able to continue at the club at this stage of my career. However, I know our paths will cross again in the future. I wish you all nothing but the best for what's ahead. Thank you for everything. Oh, man. It just goes from bad from worse. The under-21 rule in Scotland needs to be brought back ASAP, Barry. I like that kind of thinking, right? And when it comes to Scottish football, I agree that more could and should be done. I don't like sitting one to camera, but I guess we just will. To make sure that youth talent is brought through. And I need to get my wagon back together. But I've got a lot to say on this topic, a lot of detail to go into as well. And I think the quota thing that you mentioned is a great innovation when done correctly. I really don't think foreign talent is really the issue. Maybe age specific is a bit of an issue, which is why you're saying under 21 Scottish players or whatever. And I know there is more foreign players just generally in the league, and we're talking about Hearts buying random guys from everywhere, and so are even like Kilmarnock and Dundee and whatever now. So, but I think overall, the main thing that you need to do is increase participation and clearly define the pipeline of how talent goes from grass pitches into an academy or into a first team or whatever. Is that Robertson still managing in India? No, the Indian League is like imploded, I think. Like, so the Indian League was only and its last iteration that I was aware of anyway, it's like a 16-game season or something. There's only like 8 clubs. They play everyone twice, and it's in like 3 months. It's a very small season. And you would hear, like, you probably remember Owen Coyle went there and stuff like that. Like, the contracts that they were giving people was like 3-4 months. So it was very short. Big country, obviously, big area to cover. Man City had a team. Atletico Madrid had a team. And I think there was maybe like 2 others that had like satellite situations where some other club was like bolstering them or sponsoring them or whatever. Man City have gradually been on the pull out from Mumbai City. And I think they've fully exited the other day. So I just, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, the Indian League is like dying again. It's never really kicked out. What was the under-21 rule? Back in the day, you used to need, I think, 3 under-21s in the squad, which would have been 16 or 18 or something. Anybody watching in Oban? J26 is up in Oban. Good to see you, mate. Thanks for tuning in. Covering the length and the breadth of the country, Jay. Good to see you. Smash the like button. Love a bit of Oban. Owen Coyle, Greg Johnson, Jason Cummins. Yeah, exactly. But they went there and it was like 3 months, wasn't it? And then they went and got another contract somewhere else. Young players need to be playing week in, week out. Yeah, I totally agree with that, Ian. Totally. But I think a big part of the problem, right? If you think about some of the stuff we spoke about, even with like some of those like Kyle Ewers and whatever, I don't want to give anything away, so I want to save this for when I really go into it, okay? But I've kind of mentioned this often enough, but really what the problem comes down to is that the top is not accessible. You need to bring the top to more people. You need to bring it to more people so that it's easy to visualize no matter what club you're at, no matter if you're in Oban, if you're in Aberdeen, if you're in Inverness, if you're in the Borders, if you're on one of the islands or whatever, there's a path where you could have a good season, and then from there anything can happen. Scotland is and I know like there is a bit of geography to manage with, especially when you go further down the food chain, just with travel, resources and all that kind of thing, part-time. I get that. But the country's not that big, really, in the grand scheme of things. The things should be brought a bit closer together, I feel, when possible. Under 21 rule just sticks them on the bench, says Ian. Yeah, I think that's maybe a slight improvement on where we're at right now. Maybe not much. I agree. It's not really the answer. Korea did something where, and I forget the details. Ian or somebody else in the chat that is like one of my pals that's found this channel might know better or be able to quote it for me. But the K League had something where under 22 players, you needed to have like 3 of them per match get like a minimum of 20 minutes or something to that effect. And it led to like teams would start a guy at right back, and then after 25 minutes, they would sub him off for someone else. You can be really contrived, and that's something I think in Scotland we should be aware of. There's no divine tablets that have came down from the hill that say this is how football should be run or how you organise a league or squad quotas or youth development. Everyone makes it up as they go along. And Scotland doesn't make anything up. We just Groundhog Day, just wake up and do the next thing tomorrow kind of thing, you know. 3 in the squad, 1 had to start, the other 2 had to play 20 minutes, says Ian. I'll pop that up on screen. So this was the league, the rules in the K League. I think they've just abolished them recently. Maybe Ian again will know, but you had to have 321s in the squad. 1 of them had to start, and the other 2 had to guarantee play 20 minutes. So yeah, they would start a right back, play him 20 minutes and bring him off, rather than bringing guys on at the end, because that might be sketchy. Maybe the game is in balance or whatever. So some of the wise asses thought, let's start them, bring them off. Which whatever. Yeah, John Book make 3 subs at 20 minutes. And you know, so you need to watch out how convoluted, how contrived you make these things, because it's kind of counterproductive. Estonia did that too, ended up with team sub. Yeah, exactly. It's just not good, isn't it? It's not good if people are going to game it. And I think like ultimately any sort of reform or any sort of redevelopment you're going to have in Scottish football, it has to come from, the essence of it has to be we're in this together and we're not going to be playing funny buggers with each other. We're all going to just like do this in the best interest of everyone. You know, like, again, like just to use like a small example, see if there's like a guy that's like amazing and he's like the best 15-year-old in Scotland and he lives in Aberdeen. Let him play for Aberdeen. Let him stay with his family. Let him play with his pals. Let him stay in Aberdeen until he's like 16, 17 or whatever, you know, that kind of thing, rather than pulling these people all across the country and whatever. Anyway, bit of a side tangent. That's what I wanted tonight, but a wee bit of Friday Night Fans Forum. So I love the chat getting involved and taking us everywhere and anywhere. What do you think of Devaney at St Mirren last season? Thought he was a really promising player. Yeah, he's went somewhere else now. Was he the Man United loanee or no, he was the Crystal Palace loanee, wasn't he? He looked really good. I think he's went somewhere, because I think they had the Man United guy as well, didn't they? I might be thinking of the same guy, but excuse me. He was good. Yeah, Devaney was good. What do Hearts need to be ready for the qualifiers against Graz? Great question. I think the thing with Stuart Graz from when I've watched them before is they play narrow. It's like a 4-4-2 diamond. And the strikers, can I maybe even just get Graz up? That may be possible. Yeah, they will be. Let's go and get Graz up. Or maybe they're in Austria. Do we have Austria? Top leagues, internationals. Austria. Bundesliga. Sturm Graz. So this was the last time I looked at them. This was their best 11. Now, there's some guys that are changed and sold and moved and whatever. Chuck Wiani was in this team last time. I don't think he's there anymore. Again, individuals will be wrong because I've not followed Sturm Graz's transfer policy. But they play a 4-4-2 diamond. These guys, yeah, Chuck Wiani's here. These guys would be right mid, left mid at times if they needed to be. But these guys would also like lopsided, like this guy would become a winger. The other guy would move to centre forward. If the ball's on their side of the pitch, he becomes the winger. He moves to centre forward. And again, they're just very clever. This guy Horvat scored an absolute world day against us. So they're quite narrow. And I think if you're to lay the Hearts team up next to this, can we do this actually? Yeah, we can. We'll lay the Hearts team up next to it. Let's hide Sturm Graz for a moment. I don't know where this squad has came from. Maybe they've played it in a friendly or something. I'm not sure I've got it in me to throw together a mock Hearts squad. I've not been super following them. But let's imagine it's a 4-2-3-1. I think for Hearts, the route to goal in this game is going to be the wide areas, because if they can have these wide areas really active, you're then pulling the midfield out into an area they don't want to be in. And I just think Hearts have then maybe got the potential. And again, forget the individuals where I've got them here, but I think wide areas is the key thing to Hearts for this game. Midfield battle will be important as well, of course. But this, from what I've seen of Sturm Graz, and it is outdated because I've not seen them since like 6 or 7 months, whatever it is, but not mad pace. The boy Jata, there will be a few guys that are quick, but it's not a mad pacey team. They're not mad strong either. I don't even think this is our goalkeeper anymore. I'm not sure who they've even got in. But I think the wide areas, if Hearts can get numbers in the wide areas and pull them into positions, I back them to score goals if they can get service from there. So that's how I would answer that. Ryan Star TG, good to see you, mate. Hey, Quinny, really like the transfer dedicated episodes. As a Hibs fan, the recruitment has been really good this summer and much improved since David Gray and Malky Mackay has been in situ. And, you know, like, that's the thing with Hibs. We're chatting about Aberdeen before, but Hibs have been doing a lot of business for a lot of years. And with all the turnover they've had and all the kind of goals they've had at it, it's been disappointing that they've not really put it together for a full period of time, a full season. They're quite good to have a wee hot streak. You know, they maybe get a bit of form for a while. I hope they do well. I really hope you do well in Europe. I hope you qualify. I hope you get into the group stage of the Conference League. But I really don't think I've seen a Hibs squad look like this coming into the domestic league. I've got a feeling there's a striker I'm missing here. Yeah, there is. Who's the striker they just signed? Mayer's here, but where's the Suto Boyle Elding? No, there's another striker that came in that fancies himself. What's his name again? What was the guy's name again? Nathan Lowe. That's it. Thank you, Ryan. And he's talking about being top scorer and stuff. I love hearing that from new players. You know, maybe it's a bit of bravado. Maybe they don't really know what they're talking about. Fine. I still love hearing it, but, you know, you just want to hear a guy. It's like, I'm buzzing to be here and I'm going to do everything I can for you, you know? So, yeah, I think this is, again, you expect Mulligan's probably going to go. You expect Chaiwa's probably going to go. Anyone else? Unlikely, but not impossible. Would it be that important or that crucial? Maybe not. Abdullahi looks like a good bit of business. I really do like the Hibs squad this year. You've got to say a relatively safe shout for top 6, but Europe always has a funny way of interfering with things in the league. And for how competitive the rest of the league is, Like if Hibs have a good year in Europe, but they finish 7th, would that be bad? Obviously, you don't want them to finish 7th, but you know, like, what's a good year for Hibs? Is it winning a cup? Is it getting to those group stages? There's a wee bit of chat between you guys. As a Kelly fan, I know our defence is cooked. Yeah, well, that's a topic of conversation we've had. Let me just save that this low guy's back on, because I forgot to do that last time. But yeah, like, it's just thin. There's just nobody there. Like, did I see some goalkeeper movement the other day, or maybe did we speak about it? Did they sign a keeper? And I've forgotten it. They're looking to score goals, by the way, and fair play to Kilmarnock. Go for it, man. But yeah, the defence is dangerously thin. Really asking for trouble. Maybe Neil McCann fancies the youth players to step up. Open to surprises. Open to surprises. Winning a cup and top 6. That's from Ian. Third in a good cup run. Oh, third, Ryan. That's fighting talk. Third. Who are you taking that from? Who are you taking that from? Is it them across the city, or is it someone from Glasgow? Oh, that's big goals. Go for it, man. Finally getting Jason Carefields right. Yeah, it seemed to be a lot of Hibs fans happy about that. I didn't really get the background to it, but is that it? A failed move previously, perhaps? Jesper, I spoke about that earlier. I've not got. I'll break down crying if I look at it again. But if you wind back maybe 10 minutes where we're just speaking about that. Dundee are thin as well. The thing about Dundee, I think they're deliberately thin. It feels like Stephen Presley's had a bit more of a concerted effort with getting in guys who they own. Again, this says 4 days ago. It makes me think I've missed somebody, or I've forgot to save when we've come into somebody. But it feels deliberately small. They don't have Europe. They might try in the cups and stuff like that. But as Stephen Presley said last year, if you want a guy that does well in cups, I'm your guy, you know. So if he's just thinking about league only, top 6, the lean and mean isn't a problem. You know, a team like Dundee, having like a real squad of like 18 guys, like a real squad of 18, but you've got extended squad to maybe 22. Good place to be. Good place to be. I don't even know what the numbers are here. We got both the Bevans. Yeah, we got both the Bevans. Need fullbacks, but yeah, like honestly, I think Dundee's deliberately light. I don't feel that Dundee should be worried about their depth. I actually think this is deliberate or by design, but they're still sensitive to some injuries, obviously. Yeah, 2 or 3 for killing defence, and it's it's a totally different scenario. Player B2, thank you, mate. Thank you very much. Really means a lot. Knew this was coming. A daily record exclusive. Ian Atchell was apparently asking for 50k a week. No, he wasn't. Go away, man. No way. You might be getting that at Bursaspor because it's Turkey and stuff like that, right? But he had already knocked back offers from Qatar and Turkey and gave a come and get me play to Celtic. So there's no way. That's it's 100-1 for Celtic to finish bottom 6. I'll put Kilmarnock back up for you again. See, if we start the season with the sort of squad that Celtic have right now, that's not a bad £2 to spend. Gamble responsibly and all that caper, you know. The wee Brazilian kid at St Mirren, he's a great example of what we were speaking about a month ago or so, or a few weeks ago. But outliers, treat them differently. You have to really look after them. And I know he was your big hero, of course, Ian. Thank you very much, Player B2. Appreciate that. Dundee might fill their squad with a few. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it feels kind of deliberate. It feels like they wanted to kind of condense to where they're at. Odetano is a left back. Is that for Dundee? Because I don't see an Odetano here. Odetano. Yeah, he's a left back, is he? Okay. I had him as like left defender, so I just put him in there. He's a left back. Cool. Good to know. Yeah, Lewis Smith is a good shout for under the radar transfer this season. If he gets numbers, it'll be like, wow, how did that happen? The Cups are a huge opportunity this year for sure, man. Like, there's no way Celtic are getting a freaking double or treble or anything this year. The Cups are way up for grabs this year. There's no way Celtic can even think about, not that Celtic's the be all and end all the Cups or anything, but just because how many they've been winning recently. Real opportunity in the Cups. Yeah. To the best of my ability, it's 2 fullbacks for Falkirk, for Kelly. Dundee United 8-1 to finish bottom. Yeah, that's probably not a bad shout. Again, that was the big chat we had the other day, is really who do you think finishes bottom? Because all these squads are got better. There's lots of nice attackers coming in, good prospects. Almost every team's got a coach that I think all the fans are like, cool, like let's rock, let's go with it. Except for maybe now Celtic. And maybe Dundee United, who you've also mentioned there. And the Motherwell guy, it could go wrong for him. It's not necessarily anything against him, but just like we've spoke about with Motherwell already, you've seen the squad, we mentioned it earlier, like the Motherwell guy could come under a lot of pressure quite quick for me. Is Luke Douglas still at St Mirren? Oh, it's not a name I'm familiar with. If he's a kid, he might not be on my thing. Douglas doesn't ring a bell. Somebody in the chat may be able to help you with that, Barry. If Kelly get a few centre-back and full-backs, could be go top six. I think Kelly have got firepower. I really do. And I like Neil McCann's style of play. Do you think there'll be any meaningful changes at Celtic? Probably not. Probably not. By all accounts, Mulligan wants to stay. Wow. Though West Ham and Southampton are favourites. Interesting. Fair play, by the way. That'd be a coup. That would be a real coup and a half. If I was him, I wouldn't be up for going to West Ham or Southampton either. If you're Josh Mulligan, you want to move to Serie A or Celtic, but probably Serie A. So I don't blame him. Play for Hibs in Europe and then go to Serie A. I can dig it. And let's say last orders, guys. Any more talking points we want to get through? Just at the part of Rangers' first time, just at the part of Rangers' first time view for a Celtic fan, I actually think he gave a really appreciate like to hear. Thank you, Marcus Sherlock. Really appreciate that. So that's kind of just me. I'm a football person above, like I'm a Celtic fan, obviously from birth and all the rest of it. But I'm like a football person. What I do all this for is for football, So I'm really excited for the league this year. This idea of this channel and whatever has crossed my mind and even been suggested to me a bunch of times over the last couple of years, but I've never thought but this like now I really do feel that Scottish football is coming up. It's actually exciting, not just from like who'll win the league and it's between two teams and who really cares about that. There's so much going on now, that I'm happy to make it about the football, so I'm glad you like it, Marcus. Thank you, mate. Really does mean a lot because that's what we're going for here on the channel. I know you're a Celtic fan, but not paying the 2 million. Yeah, exactly. It's just crazy. Duran does look good as well. And Jens Bertalasco has hard shoes to fill in. D1872 says Falkirk, St Johnstone, Dundee, Motherwell, St Mirren, Killie, bottom six. Oh, so your top six: Celtic, Rangers, Hearts, Hibs, Aberdeen, who am I missing? That's a brave shout, mate, or a bold shout, not brave, bold. I'm tripping. I'm missing something here. 1, 2, 3. That's 6 teams. I'm missing somebody. Interesting. I can't see. I suppose bottom six is probably. See, between Dundee, Falkirk, and Killie, I think one of them make top six. That's why I just kind of gasped when I seen your list because I'm like, I kind of like a few of them to do all right this year. But Glasgow, Edinburgh, Aberdeen, Not St Mirren, not St Johnson, not Motherwell, not Kelly, not Falkirk. You get Dundee United in the top 6. Nah, no, 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 no. D1872. We can't even Dundee United for top 6 now. I don't want to make any enemies in Dundee or anything, but that is you're on your own there, mate. That's a big shout. Love it, but keep it coming. I'm sure he's good. Like I say, no harm to him, but they've got a lot. They've got a lot to do this year. You know, Barney Stewart might be worth a look. Yeah. Maybe sees himself making a McGinn style move to, yeah, or even, yeah. Well, McGinn moved to Villa in the Championship, but yeah, same principle, I suppose. Just off to Swansea now. Celtic are losing out. Is that confirmed? Is that like a bit of news we could chat about? Is that actually happening now? I'm not seeing any further developments beyond that Swansea's in advanced talks for him. Imagine he goes to Swansea. Oh my god, man. What a Friday night it's been for the Celtic hierarchy. Sriracha messages, Ian Hatchell messages, and then if Elijah just rejects Celtic to go to Swansea, oh, wouldn't that just be Finlay Curtis rumours? Rangers aren't selling him, are they? That feels peculiar. St Johnson second, Paul Bowman. Way, love the thought. Dundee United top 6, fair enough, mate. If you're standing by it, it's a bold shout, Cotton. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Rangers, Hearts, Celtic, Hibs, Aberdeen, Dundee, you as well, Ryan. Wow. Fair enough, man. About Dundee United supporting the chat. We've not had it, but it's good to have it. I think Goodwin or the Motherwell guy is my shouts for first manager to get bagged. Ian's quite optimistic as a St Johnson fan. I like his manager. I like the fact they've got a cool guy called Alvarez in the door. And, you know, they've got a pretty good depth here, don't they? Compared to like some of the other teams we've looked at. Quality, experience, maybe some of that comes into the mix. McPake not in the Hearts squad, okay. Oh, mate, you don't need to remind me. I don't mind Jim Goodwin. I actually think he's all right, but he's got rotten luck, man. He's got rotten luck. He's just, you know, he's almost in that kind of meme territory like Tavernier was of, yeah, disappointing. Like, that's my main kind of close my eyes or image of Jim Goodwin is being disappointed after a game, losing it in the last minute, throwing away a lead, that kind of thing. And his football isn't that exciting. So, like, it feels like he's always on the edge of every job he's had. I think St Mirren was where he was the only place he was, like, comfortable. Aberdeen was, like, a ticking time bomb. And Dundee United, like, it's maybe a wee bit different with them, but it feels like that is, you know, they're losing patience with him. Yeah, Falkirk got a good shout for top 6, I think, too. Jimmy Bowen, best ever defender. Like the old guy, I know him. I did my coaching. He was one of the tutors, or whatever you want to call them, from the SFA. If that's who you're talking about, Jimmy Bowen. Cool guy. Real old school, like actual, like old school. I remember him telling me a story. It wasn't just me, there was a few people there, but it was like dealing with a manager on our player or something and then actually like fighting. You know, like actually having a fucking scrap. Yeah, I think he's well regarded. I didn't know him before meeting him at the UEFA license thing, but certainly well respected by everyone else. You know, got to know him quickly and cool guy, but real old school, man. You know, I think he even spoke about people smoking at half time and stuff like that, like smoking a fag. You know, St Mirren, yeah, that rings a bell. That rings a bell. Cool guy. Cool guy. That's a good thing about doing coaching badges. I think somebody mentioned coaching badges earlier, and I did miss it, so sorry. But that's the one thing I loved about it. I love coaching and football and everything, right? But doing all the courses, the thing I loved about it was meeting people, because I'm not an ex-player or anything like that. So I just loved, like, oh, who's this guy? What are they all about? And what are they good at? And, you know, what background do they come from? You know, or what kind of path are they on? Love all that stuff. And I remember meeting Donald Park. Maybe some of you don't know him. He's like, I think he's pretty much given all the credit for like the Hibs youth generation of like Brown and Thompson and stuff. I think he gets a lot of credit for like Inverness stuff as well. Parky, Donald Park. He's like a legend of like Scottish football and stuff like that, I think, isn't he? He was a cool guy. Coming from a Hibs fan as well, if Celtic really want Chaiwa, just give us the money. Yeah, Celtic are allergic to giving Scottish clubs money. It's as if they think it's worth twice as much to you, as if like 5 million from West Brom, or they're going to get 5 million from Celtic. And they're like, no, we don't want to give them our money. Our money means they've won, they've beat us at something. You know, I agree with you. I hate spending money. In the first game, I'm referencing Dundee United. Oh, sorry, did I miss something? With how they've started in the cup games, I think Rangers could give them a sore one. Maybe that's me being hopeful. Dundee United are very defensive, you know, so like a big battering is kind of like not impossible, but maybe Kilmarnock you could see get battered because they're very attacking, not much of defensive depth and whatever. And say if somebody's out of form or not available, like maybe Kelly I could see getting a few like, oh, how did that happen? Somebody battered them 4-0. But Dundee United, I could see them just like not. Their main problem for me last year, Dundee United, was they couldn't score goals. Not sure how many more goals they've added into their team ultimately. Oh yeah, I seen that too. Thiago Silva doing his license up here. I actually, Rob, I spent a lot of time this year weighing that up and thinking about it, and even trying to have some chats with some people about it. And where I rested is not right now, because I couldn't do what I'm doing now. Anything. Obviously, I want to start this channel as well, which is a new thing, but coaching for me, I've seen this to Hendo, who's going to be on the channel quite soon. We'll do some. Hendo's a great guy. You'll love him, by the way. He's a real scout. You know, he's got some real scouting nous and experience and whatever. So look forward to that. But I've said, and he's coaching now. The same you coach, it is all encompassing. Like when I was coaching for 6 or 7 years, I didn't watch that much football because I was just so engrossed on. I did what you know. You'd always have a wee team. Me anyway. I've always got a team or a manager or whatever that I get infatuated with, and I'll watch them all season and see how they do and what they do and whatever. And especially when I was coaching, maybe try and adapt some of that, or take some inspiration. How can I do something with that? Could that help us? Kind of thing. So if I went back to coaching, like this is like YouTube is my job. It has been my job now for a fair while, and I just don't think I could keep it up, both of them. So I would love to get my hands dirty in football again. I really do. It's still something I'm very motivated to do, but it is like all of this would go away, you know. And I'm for where I am in my coaching career, like I'm not going to be getting a well-paid job. If I was to get back into it, I would need to go back to where I left off and work up the ladder again, which I wouldn't have a problem with. But it's not leave your job stuff for, you know. But I appreciate the question, mate. Thank you. Ferry has been told, I had this up earlier, Ferry is back in the squad, so Dundee United will be able to use him. Jim Goodwin says Ferry is available for Arbroath after being held back while transfer interest was live. The suggested check move interest hasn't reached the point where Dundee United would sell him, so they now need to keep him out for. Yeah, so they're using him. Might still happen, but it's maybe kind of on the fence now. Does that change how you think about Dundee United? It maybe changes how I think about them a wee bit if they still have Will Ferry in the team for next year, because after he scored that goal against Celtic, he really broke through and started scoring and being a lot more active as a creative outlet. And if they were to lose him, I think that'd be a hard guy to replace. Yeah, I think so too, Ryan. I think you're spot on there. I need to find a way to watch Toulouse. Highlights of Ligue 1 or on Channel 5 sometimes. The way social media goes, and the thing with France is their TV deal is screwed. I would be surprised if it's very easy to find on YouTube. So many leagues put all their highlights. Sometimes it's crap, but it's like 2 minutes. There's not much in it. But if there's highlights on Channel 5, magic. I think TNT has French football. French football's fun. It is fun. It's kind of breath. It's high octane, fast. It's very rarely dull. There's a lot of French football on a Friday night as well, so you'll probably be able to watch them. It's not always like the same team, but there's always French games on a Friday. I've kind of ran out of stuff to talk about. I like this guy Mergen, by the way. I've kind of been slating Dundee United, but I actually really like this guy that they signed the other day. This guy's a player. I can't remember the tail of the tape. We spoke about it the other day. I'll have an omnibus out on Sunday, so it'll be a mega episode. It won't have this full stream in it. We'll maybe take a piece or two from it. Same with the big stream we had in the week, but we'll have all the little videos. We'll have a bit of an omnibus on Sunday for any that have seen bits of the content or only finding it for the first time. I'm trying to stick them all together for a Sunday for a big mega one. Maybe it does better on Spotify. Maybe you guys like it on YouTube. I'm just trying to figure it out as I go along. J-League have just confirmed 4 live matches a week on YouTube this season. Nice. It's the future, man. Do you think Celtic are doing what they're doing? They're seeing how they do in the Champions League? Yeah, probably. That's what they always do. Michael Nicholson said they've confirmed their new strategy, but it's the same strategy they've always had. So, probably. Saint Etienne. Yeah, I would be interested to watch Saint Etienne this year. They're in League 2, but their manager's Ian Caffro. So I'd be interested to see that. And Saint Etienne play Hearts or Rangers in a friendly coming up. I forget which team it is, but one of them. So maybe you want to see Caffro's team in action if you can go to the game if you're a supporter, whoever they're playing. If you had to pick 3 teams to use on So Rare for streaks. Oh, that's a great question, Rico, man. So we'll have a lot of fantasy football content, or not a lot. We'll probably do a weekly fantasy football thing. SPFL only fantasy football. 3 teams outside of the air quotes top 3 from last year. I just like Kilmarnock for now. But I don't know if they'll deliver. There's a lot of promise there. I feel a little bit more confident around maybe a Dundee or a Falkirk, depending on your POV. I kind of like the leanness of Dundee. And this boy, Ethan Hamilton, by the way, like 27 years of age, a solid player in the league. Don't think he was great in fantasy football last year, but I could see him doing better this year. This guy Basir looks like he could be a talent. The boy Riley has got a peg on him, by the way. Simon Murray, of course, the mega press. Some of the defenders are usable. I like Dundee. Let's say Dundee is one of them. Good fantasy football teams outside of the big 3. I think you need to look at Aberdeen. Yeah, Aberdeen, you really need to look at. I think Connor Ronan could be wild. Lewis Smith could be very good. I like the options of the goalkeeper, depending on who's number 1. And let's see, a lot of the defence is unknown. Aberdeen and Dundee. And it's maybe kind of copping out saying Hibs, but I probably would go to Hibs. Dundee have got European football. And then who else did I say? Or they don't. Dundee. Aberdeen don't. Yeah. I don't mind Hibs. Hibs, Aberdeen, Dundee. That would be my 3, Rico, man. German second tier does it too. It's very common nowadays. You know, it's very much the thing for teams, for leagues that are ambitious and want to grow their fan base. YouTube is the biggest TV show in the world, biggest TV channel, whatever you want to think of it as. It's in everyone's phone. It's on everyone's TV. It's the place to be in that regard, you know. So I would pick Aberdeen, Hibs, and Dundee United, Michael. I kind of forgot about that Mergum guy that they've got. That kind of does change things a little bit because he looks like a real talisman. That's a good pick, Michael. Dragojevic does look, he could be a real big signing. Wow, wee Mitch. Thank you very much. Our first ever super chat on the channel. Thank you very much, mate. No, I really appreciate that, Mitch. Thank you. Very generous. No need to do that, but thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'll leave that up on screen. I really do appreciate that. James Smith says Aberdeen, Hibs and Motherwell. Cool. Any other ones? Pick Hibs, you know you want to. Yeah. It feels a wee bit cop-outy, but because they're kind of right up there with everyone, all the big ones that we're excluding, aren't they? Personally, I wouldn't choose teams. Yeah, I wouldn't pick teams either. I don't think teams is smart. I would pick players all over the league. That's what I'll be doing. Maybe, I don't know. There is some nice kits. There is some nice kits. I'll maybe look at that. I do like my kits and stuff like that, but I wouldn't be buying any of them. I'll think about it, Michael. It's a great idea. I do like kits and clobber and stuff like that. More eyeballs means more streaming, means more broadcast, means more money. You said it, Ryan. I think so too, Ryan. We spent a lot of time the other day thinking about who could actually be in the bottom of the league. And that's like, try to pick who's the bottom two is the hardest thing. Really. I kind of feel like I'm running in circles now. Thanks very much to Mitch. I want to stay on for another minute or two at least because we've had that super chat come in. I really do appreciate that. I don't want to just dine and dash, as it were. But we've been on for a fair length of time and I've kind of ran out of stuff to say. Friday Night Forum feels like it was good fun for me. Hopefully it was good fun for you guys. We've had a bunch of likes. If you do enjoy the content here, being in the live chat and hitting the like button tells YouTube we've had a good live stream. We've had some fun. We've spoke about stuff. We've bum. And YouTube thinks, oh, that was a good wee stream. What was that about? Scottish football. Let's find some other Scottish football fans, see if they like it. So if you have enjoyed this, being in the live chat, even just dropping a wee emoji, drop a wee sentence, add into the conversation, whatever you're comfortable with, and dropping a wee like goes a long, long way. And if you do like the content, of course, and you want to stay up to date, hitting subscribe, turning on notifications is huge for helping the channel grow because it tells YouTube that you like this stuff and you want to see it when it comes out. And it thinks maybe other fans will like it and we can help grow. The whole reason we want the channel to grow is the bigger the channel gets, it earns some money, the better stuff I can get to do all this stuff. We've got some nice facilities. We've got some nice tech and some nice... I've left this AI thing, it broke. I'll deal with it later. And I'll show you the joys of Brad Spencer another time. But the bigger we grow, the better tech I can get my hands on. We can do much better in-depth stuff for scouting players and even for reviewing signings and stuff. But when we get into the meat and bones of the season, where we're doing a lot of match day, preview, reaction, analysis stuff, just make it a bit slicker and better. So costs you absolutely nothing to do any of this stuff, but it goes a long way to help the channel grow, and we can give you guys better stuff. Really, that's the name of the game here for me. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you've enjoyed the content this week. Check the omnibus out on Sunday if you feel obliged. You've got some time to kill or whatever, and you've maybe not caught up to speed with everything this week. Much appreciated. And yeah, stay out of trouble. Have a great time. I'll see you Monday.